Welcome to worship with the Universalist Unitarian Church of Peoria. My name is the Reverend Jennifer Innis. It is my great joy to be the minister with this congregation of all ages, of all seasons of life. This is a beloved community striving to live into its mission of embracing freedom, loving wholeheartedly, growing in mind, body, and spirit, and adding to the wholeness and the healing of the world. We welcome people of all ethnicities and races, politics, sexual orientation, gender identity, social and economic situations, and abilities. We are unapologetically progressive. As we advocate for human rights, and we strive to be good stewards of this one earth. And in living our mission, we recognize the network of relationships of which we are a part. This is the ancestral home of the Peoria people. They and many other nations were here long before the first European settlers came down the Illinois River. So we take a moment in our service, as we have been asked to do, to honor the Peoria people for who they were and for who they are today. I want to thank folks for joining us in person and online. We recognize, if we've learned nothing else in the last several years, how precious it is to come together, to expand our circles of care, to create these enduring networks of support, and that also helps us have networks of hope. So if you are new to us today, I invite you to say hello with one of our greeters and our ushers. We have plenty of name tags. We love all the questions. Yes, more questions, also good. And I want to invite folks to stay after the service for coffee and conversation in Fellowship Hall. And if you're joining us online, there's a little chat in the Zoom after service as well. Now, let me invite folks to check your respective devices to see if they are in worship mode. So many devices, so little time. An extra check never hurts, right? And we have a little bit of a tech ministry. If you need a little help with that as well, don't be shy about asking. I have a few notes for today. First is, after service during coffee hour is, I gotta love this, our bake sale for intellectual freedom. That's right, the bake sale for intellectual freedom. And this is offered and hosted by Katie Jones. Thank you to everybody who brought items to add to our collective bake sale as well. Also, kind of piggyback on that, and given how much people are really wanting to be engaged and active and making a difference in this time, no matter how great or small those actions, we're doing a little bit of a check-in about about what people are doing in the world. Are you making your 5 calls a day? Do you attend the local rallies for human rights and healthcare and due process? Do you learn more about how there's an effort to bring high-pressure CO2 pipeline in this area and the risks for health and environmental damage? Are you speaking up for immigration and against racism? So I want to invite folks to come join me on the patio during coffee hour, and we'll have a little bit of a conversation, kind of saying, what are you doing, and what would you like to be doing? How do we get connected today? Let's see, so we'll have a little bit of a more note about the congregational meeting during the annual campaign message, but let me just tell you about the next 2 Sundays. These are kind of some of the biggest Sundays in our congregation's cycle of the year. Next Sunday, June 1st, is our annual flower communion service. Everybody is asked to bring flowers to share and add to will be our common bouquet here in the front, as part of a uniquely Unitarian Universalist practice. And after the service and a brief pizza lunch in Fellowship Hall, we'll come back into the sanctuary for the spring congregational meeting. That is the opportunity for voting members to have a say in the slate of elected leaders, and also for everybody to learn more about the budget, and members can vote on the budget in that moment as well. So I really want to thank everybody for putting that on your calendar, coming and joining us next Sunday for Flower Communion and for the congregational meeting. and childcare very much is provided. In 2 weeks, so here's the next thing. In 2 weeks, on June 8th, we will be not in this building. Make note of this. We will not actually be here. We will be across the river at Herm Farm for our annual church picnic. It is a potluck brunch. Begins at 9:30 a.m. Thank you very much for the slide. So brunch begins at 9:30. We have a brief service and recognition for the year at 10:45. And you're welcome to bring your family, to bring your friends. I definitely recommend bringing some lawn chairs. Bring stuff for swimming and canoeing and fishing, and see the maps and the flyers that are here in the church and also in the newsletter. And I'm going to invite folks to check in with each other about getting rides as well, because it's a little bit over. It's over in Washington. It's a little bit far away. And now, let me invite Nancy Rakoff forward for a message about our annual campaign with the fabulous hat.
Part of the annual campaign team. Seems like I've been part of the annual campaign team for decades. But I love it. 165 families and individuals have already pledged their very generous support for the church for the year that begins July 1st and ends next June 30th. Many people have increased their pledges by 10% or more, as was requested over the current year. Our pledges total so far, is there a slide up there? $344,025. That is fantastic. But we're not quite there yet. Our goal is $366,000, which helps run the church to do all the many things you read about. Every Friday in the UU News, you hear about from Reverend Jennifer, you read in the Builder each month. Let me tell you what's going to happen next. First thing is that this Wednesday night, the regular board meeting, if we haven't made it yet to $366,000, the board will make recommendations of what we cut out of the budget. Any cuts will make it harder for us to do what we want to do in the community and what we offer for the congregation. Then next Sunday, as Reverend Jennifer said, we will gather together as voting members in a congregational meeting to vote on the budget because the congregation has the final say. We still have the possibility to reach the $366,000 if all those who haven't pledged yet this year pledge what they pledged in 24-25, we would make it and go over a little bit. You can help if you haven't pledged by turning in your pledge today, and the forms are in the foyer, or you can pledge online, and anybody with a funny hat can tell you how to do that, or you can contact the church office. Now I'm going to take off the hat, and you know, some Sundays we've had somebody come up here and tell you what the church means to them, and I think everybody that's come up here has been a lot younger than me. I want to say two things. First, our church is 182 years old. Imagine, before the Civil War, 1843, actually May 5th, 1843. I don't think they called it Cinco de Mayo then, but that's when our church was started. Just think how many people have been part of this church in 182 years, guiding the church, mowing the grass, organizing potlucks, and yes, making pledges of their financial support so the church served the people of that time and sustained it so we found it when we came. When I joined the church 41 years ago, I was privileged to make pledge visits with two of our older members who were pillars of the church, and they had helped to sustain it. Because of them, the church was there when I came looking. That was a real eye-opener for me. And now I'm one of those older members helping along with you to sustain the church for ourselves and for the future. Second, just one of the reasons I love this church so much is because of the community and the love and the support I find here. Many of you know that my beloved husband, Henry, died 3 weeks ago at the age of 100 after 6 years of declining health. Over those 6 years, so many people out of genuine concern asked me at coffee hour how he was doing. Dear friends called me frequently to offer their help or just check on us. I even took some of it up on that offer when he fell frequently or needed help. And then when he died, Reverend Jennifer was at our house seemingly within minutes. She got the wheels in motion for his memorial service and met with our family for hours to plan it. Henry's service was one of joy and love and even humor. My neighbor later told me it was the best memorial service she'd ever attended, and that our minister was eloquent, and she was eloquent. And a special joy for me came when, during the reception afterwards, one of our children came up to give me a kiss on the cheek. It takes all ages to make this community. I'm so grateful to be part of this beloved community. Thank you for being part of it also.
I really like that it's a hard act to follow, Nancy. I invite you to rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 155. Share. Circle round. Dave Grebner forward for our opening words.
Reverend Gretchen Haley. Freedom has a rhythm to it, a longing our bodies know without words. From a moment away, from everything small and sacred, are waking up to possibility, healing backwards and forwards. Even now we are beginning again, unafraid of this much mercy, tenderness, pleasure we come to lead in. To learn the sound of liberation, like the sound of our names, receiving and releasing. We come to be free from more than ourselves, to call love the greatest liberty, to sing of loyalty, courage, and kindness, to remember we are all doing the best we can. Despair hasn't gotten us yet, or nor overwhelmed, which is a kind of miracle. Surrounded as we are by this much beauty, come, let us worship together.
And I invite the Franklin family forward for our chalice lighting.
Let us remember by Rev. J. Wolin.
As we come together, let us remember those who have come before us, both known and unknown, and sacrificed so we could have the opportunities we have. Let us think about those yet to come, both known and unknown, and the world we will leave them. Let us act with our values, the impact of which is both known and unknown. Let us move forward with hope for a world we can imagine and one we cannot fathom. As we light this chalice, let it light the path as we move forward in worship together.
Together in freedom.
I'm sending you light to hold you, to heal you. I'm sending you light to hold you in love. I'm sending you light to hold you, to heal you. I'm sending you light to hold you in love. During our music for meditation, all are welcome to come forward for a chance to light candles and make a small light that acknowledges what is with you and within you. And if you are online, you're welcome to let these candles be for you too. Let us now enter into our music for meditation. From Walter Royal Jones Jr. Mindful of truth ever exceeding our knowledge, and community ever exceeding our practice, reverently we covenant together, beginning with ourselves as we are, to share the strength of integrity and the heritage of the Spirit in the unending quest for wisdom and love. This is the time for the sharing of joys and sorrows of the congregation. We have a note of blessing. We offer a blessing to Alex Jones from his family and his church family as he adjusts to his new home in Palatine, Illinois. And we offer a note of congratulations. This is a time of finishing and graduating and transitions and looking forward to the next chapter. So congratulations to all who are in the moment, not just those who are graduating, but all who are finishing and then looking forward into the future. And in our larger Unitarian Universalist world, today is the 200th anniversary of the founding of the American Unitarian Association. That was the moment when Unitarianism became a formal faith tradition. And in the service from May 11th, I explored how we came into Unitarianism and how we need to thank a Unitarian, Joseph Priestley, for our love of carbonated drinks. No, really, we do. We should. But it is good to mark this moment across all over the country and as we prepare for kind of the next chapter in our faith traditions. I offer a Memorial Day prayer from the Reverend Barbara Peskin. Spirit of life, whom we have called by many names in thanksgiving and in anguish. Bless the poets and those who mourn. Send peace for the soldiers who did not make the wars, but whose lives were consumed by them. Let strong trees grow above graves far from home. Breathe through the arms of their branches. The earth will swallow your tears while the dead sing. No more, never again. Remember me. For the wounded ones and those who received them back, let there be someone ready when memories come, when the scars pull and buried metal moves, and forgiveness for those of us who were not there for our ignorance. And in us, veterans in a forest of 1,000 fallen promises, let new leaves of protest grow on our stumps. Give us courage to answer the cry of humanity's pain, and with our bare hands, out of full hearts, with all our intelligence, let us create the peace. So may it be. Let us hold one more moment together. In our circle, we have room for all the names and the milestones, the joys and the sorrows that are among us, that are within us. So let us hold one more moment in quiet together. I invite you to pause with me and breathe. Shalom, salam, amen, and blessed be. And I invite Jesse forward for the story.
Our story on this Memorial Day Sunday is Sometimes People March by Tessa Allen. Sometimes ants march. Sometimes bands march. And sometimes people march. Marching is something that people do together when they want to resist injustice or when they notice the need for change. People march for many reasons. People march for things they care about and for people they love. People march for the health of their bodies and their communities and their world. People march for the freedom to love and live and learn. Sometimes people carry signs to share the stories of resistance. So many good signs. People resist in many ways. Sometimes with their voices. They might resist with their words or their songs or with art. People resist with meetings. They resist standing up or sitting down or taking a knee. It isn't always easy. Feet get tired. Arms get tired. And hearts and hope get tired. Sometimes our problems seem too big and too complex. But we do not march alone. Ants are stronger together, and bands are louder together. And people are more powerful together. Sometimes feelings of fear or anger or injustice bring us hope for change. Sometimes great change starts small with a brave question. Maybe it's your question. A question that calls people together. And together, we find the courage to march. I wonder what your questions are. I wonder what you march for. The kids and adults are invited to join me for religious education and ice cream sundaes.
May the You know, there are some moments when I would love to be hanging out in the RE wing with the kids. They are in fact having Sundays today. It's a Sundays on Sunday kind of day. This marks the end of the program year for our children and youth program. They're kind of enjoying some Sundays, maybe cleaning up and sorting out some materials back in the RE wing, kind of clear things away to get ready for the summer. And it very much reminds me this moment, knowing what the children are going to be doing there, how much we hold together. All that happens in the congregation comes from because we make some choices. We make some choices to do a little work. We make some choices to live in some joy, like having ice cream. And how much it makes a difference for us to be able to continue to do wonderful things and good things in this place. And this is partially why we appreciate receiving the morning offering in our Sunday services. It is the practice of an act of giving that we recognize the value of it. And so we kind of give it a special dedicated place in our service. It is its own spiritual practice. It reminds us of all the ways that we give as well, which makes manifest everything and much more than we can do by ourselves. So thank you for your generous offerings and donations all through the year, every Sunday, any day that ends in Y. Go right ahead. We love a good donation on a day that ends in Y. And not only do we sustain the congregation internally and do good things for those who come through our walls or find us online, but we also send a bit back out into the world. This month, we offer our Share the Plate practice with the NAACP here in Peoria. We take about half of the undesignated plate in our Sunday giving and send that out into an organization every month. So we appreciate being able to support the NAACP here. Founded in 1915, this branch of the NAACP works for equity and justice in all parts of life, in voting, in education, in housing, in employment, and in the legal system as well. So we thank everybody for being able to support one of the wonderful community partners that we know really makes a difference here as well. And now for our Share the Plate, if you'd like to go to the envelope in the pews or look into the QR code in the order of service, you're welcome to designate where you would like your donation to go. And now I want to invite the ushers to please come forward. Jost to come help me with our reading. It is a bit responsive. If you look in your order of service. You be at this microphone. I have this microphone. So we'll read read the different parts together, and if you would join me in the bold print. As fear abounds, may courage as well. In these times, we know we will not need to turn away nor surrender in advance. In the coming years, when asked to turn away, to focus only on our own survival and disregard our neighbors, knowing the promise of plurality, we will pay attention.
We honor democracy despite its unrealized ideal. We who value the give and take of shaping a future understand the importance of those groups and places that are essential to the democratic practices.
Honoring the many that offer sanctuary, we will pay attention. Though attacks on truth may rain down upon us, we will not succumb. What we spread will continue to be rooted in fact and to protect the honest lessons of history. As truth-loving people, we will pay attention.
We understand that the best of what we experience was hard won by those who came before us. We will continue to honor our spiritual ancestors. We hold the special grief of those who never thought they would fight for their basic rights again.
In the name of our ancestors, we will pay attention. We who have had years of thriving, who have enjoyed times of abundance, hear the cries of those generations who may never experience this. We will think about how we might have a bit less than that they have more. For the sake of our children, and all children are ours, we will pay attention.
We who are struggling to comprehend all that is lost, acknowledge the long struggle before us. We pledge to engage in joy and fun, care for ourselves and beloveds, for undermining our own lives will not speed justice.
For the sake of our own good bodies, hearts, and minds, we will pay attention. We will continue to hold the ideals of what our democracy might someday realize. When we are in a position to do so, we will defend others. When we are in need of defense, we will ask for assistance. In the spirit of interdependence, we will pay attention.
In all of this, we remember that we do not do this alone.
Together, we will pay attention. Not wrong. Please rise in body or spirit for our hymn number 159, This Is My Song. Please be seated. I remember being part of the celebrations of this country for its 200th anniversary in 1976. I was very small. And my small town in the middle of Massachusetts had that typical local commemoration. I mean, it was on the green town common, had the white steeple of the great Congregational Church rising at one end, kind of anchoring the universe. And the parade, of course it was a parade, had red, white, and blue streamers, and the one fire truck with the station staffed by volunteers. The parade also included veterans, men, and maybe one or two women decorated, wearing their insignia, wearing themselves with pride, and so much, certainly deservedly so for their service, but also they were there in memory of fallen friends. This was the town gathering, so there were families and children dashing in and out the festivities. I'm sure I was among them. And it was in that lovely 1976 summer day. It was a taste of liberty and peace and joy and a hope that not only were we celebrating what had been, but that everybody should also have such a life. I catch a bit of that feeling now when we visit family near Concord in Massachusetts and pass the Minuteman National Park and see the Minuteman statue that's there and the historic lands where they fought those first battles in the Revolutionary War. We saw those first battles for independence, the first casualties, and the early fallen soldiers that we remember on Memorial Day. That loss, knowing that loss is still living in that ground, mingles with the fighting spirit and strengthens the gravitas of the larger purpose of liberty. On this weekend, our task is to take seriously this history, this legacy, this aspiration. It asks so much of those who have died in service and have died for the sake of its preservation and its fulfillment. It is our task to take this to heart and to tell a story that is, of course, far, far more complicated than fireworks and star-spangled banners. And I take a cue from Unitarian Universalism in the moment, too, because at that founding of this country was also the growing spirit of a more liberal approach to religion. I wouldn't say liberal in that time, but a little more liberal approach to religion, or more liberal approach to humanity, because this was the age of the Enlightenment. Right? This was coming forth from the understanding of science and reason and saying, yes, people have rights. People should be free from being controlled about their religion. They should be able to pursue life and liberty and, yes, happiness. All of these were an intrinsic part of the founding of the Bill of Rights, the freedom of assembly, the freedom of speech, due process. Ever know about due process? Right, we like that, right? Remember that. Freedom from state-sponsored religion, freedom from imprisonment by the government. And to put this together in a system of government that was flexible enough to shift and grow. The founding fathers may have been ignorant of many things, but they knew enough to know they didn't know. And that's important too. It was a world of no kings. Let me say that again. No kings. Amen. And this was all in the religious conversation in the emerging Unitarians and Universalists of the time as well. This was some of the people who signed the Declaration of Independence were in that Unitarian and Universalist spirit. That willingness to examine and reflect and not just go with what had been told time after time. Now, I'm not going to say the system is perfect. It is deeply, deeply flawed, even at its inception. We know this. It is a system that excludes so many people from the ability to vote because of gender or lack of property. It is, in fact, oppressive. It declared certain persons not even whole persons with that 3/5 rule. And so the great experiment of this country has been working through what was excellent and what was awful in this system the entirety of the time. And these last nearly 250 years, woof, did I give my age away? 250 years. We are just about to celebrate. We have been working through this structure and the suffering thereof all along, as well as along with the human range that we simply are, the fabulous and the flawed and the powerful and the selfish and the generous. Our entire humanity has been revealed in these last 250 years and more. But we've made some progress. We made some progress. We did, in fact, have this New Deal that lifted up and provided structures for those who could not take care of themselves because of health, because of age, because of simply human reasons. We recognize that our society must take care of the least of us, that is a sign of civilization. And then post-World War II, we had additional social structures in place. The GI Bill that helped so many people get into education and good homes and good jobs. We followed that with the civil rights. We were on a roll, us humanity over here in this continent. We're on this roll of civil rights coming into being, of voting for actually everybody to bring us closer to the aspirational democracy that we had started out with than at any other point. And here we are in this moment today. Here we get to learn our civics lessons all over again, and in ways we never expected, and in ways that are about life and death, that are deeply profound, personally wounding, and morally harming. As Heather Cox Richardson points out, the Boston University history professor who has been aggregating the news in its context for some years now, democracy is fragile. Its existence requires work from all of us. And it requires work from those of us who have the most privilege on behalf of those in the margins. It requires us that we see each other as fully human and fully equal and fully having the right to exist, even when we deeply disagree, when we truly don't understand each other, and especially when we don't like each other. This is the great American experiment. And when the will fails to keep it going, in that system of checks and balances, the whole construct is at risk. And this is what we are seeing. that enough people have gotten into enough power to want to destroy the whole system. As imperfect and as awful and as oppressive as it is, it also had been keeping many of us safe and alive. Part of my job is to look at the terrible of the world and help people make it make sense. I don't like writing these. I don't want to. I don't want to. And it breaks my heart just to have this conversation. But I want to recognize this as a moment of mourning. I think that's one of the things we can actually offer to each other in this moment. This is not a rally. We're now not out putting out our signs and cheering each other on the pavement. This can be a moment of mourning. And how much this hurts. How much has been lost. How much people have already been impacted by radical eliminations of jobs, of whole departments, of funding. How much food has already been taken from the most vulnerable of children. That brings up in me a level of disgust I can't even quite articulate. And then in much larger moments, refusing such things as not assisting in the recovery after deadly tornadoes and literally leaving people in the wind. And now in this, I can't even say the title of it, this bill that's in our governance right now, that is on the brink of taking Medicaid, dismantling rights, dismantling judicial powers, and much more. This is not the country I recognize. And we have global relationships also impacted, the loss of US aid, of medicine. What is rebounding upon us is the US's role in supporting Israel, and their ability to attack Gaza and destroy lives every day. And it feeds into the ability of some bad actors to weaponize anti-Semitism against our own ability to have free speech. All of this and more. What it does do, amidst the grief, amidst the heartbreak, amidst the moral injury, it tells us what matters most. One of the most powerful things we can do is to retain and deepen our sense of what is truth, what is real, when there's a whole section of the country who seems to be willing to go with an entirely different reality that is not based in fact and is not open to information or revelation or compassion. This is an opportunity to discover and rediscover what is of worth and why certain systems are needed and need to work well. Those of us who've been working against the brutality of our incarceration system, and keep in mind the US has 20% of the world's prisoners incarcerated in this country. People have been working towards dismantling the systems that get people into incarceration, the law enforcement that is biased and harmful, and will very much tell us that all of this that's going on is actually nothing new. That our Black, Indigenous, people of color, allies in the work of dismantling oppression will also tell us that this is nothing new. That perhaps we encounter the world as it really is for so many of us in this country, and many of us who are privileged just didn't know it. There's something to be said for breaking up systems, but to do it in a way that doesn't harm, to do it in a way that doesn't break the people in the process. Because this form of breaking, this form of cruelty, we get to see the worst of our human imagination. Month's theme is imagination, and we've extolled it. We had Star Wars. We had all kinds of good things this month. We had the coming of age class share what's important to them, but there's also the worst of human imagination, and that's being inflicted upon us now. We're getting in that conflict a deep lesson about power and who wields it, about the nature of power and how to claim it. We aspire to freedom. We aspire to freedom in the founding of this country, in so much of what we talk about in Unitarian Universalism. But there is a companion to freedom, and that is responsibility. That is relationship. We are not free in a vacuum. We are free amidst the world. And if we want a world that is equally liberated, as we aspire ourselves to be individually, then we must go forth and take care of that for everybody. Liberation is universal. And we are obligated to ensure that to the best of our ability. I so appreciate my colleague, the Reverend Leslie Takahashi. How do we curate freedom? How we curate and protect our ability to move about in the world, that we pay attention. And Reverend Leslie is taking from the author Timothy Snyder and his piece on tyranny, when she created that commitment to what we will pay attention. And I also appreciate her as a source and reflection on this, because her own father's family was in the internment camps during World War II, the Japanese internment camps here in this country, removed and displaced as if they were worth nothing, simply because they looked different and were treated with suspicion and were not counted as human. We have a long history of not paying attention, of not understanding that relationship between freedom and responsibility. And we will mess it up again, but we can commit to doing our best now, to paying attention. And we can do that with remembering on this anniversary of this 200th anniversary of the American Unitarian Association, our UUA president, Reverend Dr. Sophia Betancourt, who herself would not have been at all holding any position of power in society at the founding of this country. She is Black, she is Indigenous, she's from Louisiana, and she is now our president of our denomination. This is a good sign. And she has graced us with her generous spirit to be serving in this moment, knowing that so many of us are so white and have so much to learn. As we say in Massachusetts, oh, we're wicked white. Way white. So many of us. We have so much to learn. Even we have to learn how to even pay attention. That's a learning, right? But she reminds us of our place as a part of a larger faith here. She says, today we celebrate 200 years of the American Unitarian Association at a time when Unitarian Universalism is badly needed in our nation and in the world. We should be proud of the accomplishments and the impact of liberal thought and the theology that grows from that thought. And yet, too, there is trouble born of comfort and thinking we know best. There we go. Let us not fall into arrogance more, shall we? Born into the comfort of thinking we know best when it comes to restoring justice and building a world and an earth community that allows all to fully thrive. This is our work, both to get in the way and get out of our way. She says, how do we proceed as authoritarianism is on the rise both domestically and around the world? We must remember, she says, that we are sanctuary people, not only in collaborating around the work of justice, but also in providing nourishment and shelter for our own spirits so that we do not give up in the face of all that is overwhelming. May this milestone, she sends us out with, be one that galvanizes us in all the ways we are called to live into this moment and organize around our shared values. We have an opportunity to respect that relationship between great freedom, great responsibility, in great attentiveness. Because as Heather Cox Richardson tells us, authoritarians cannot rise if there are strong enough communities and people acting with joy. We get to claim joy in this work, even as our hearts are broken open again and again. She says, you need despair and anger in order for authoritarians to rise. And whatever those things you bring to the community, do them, and do them with joy, like a bake sale for intellectual freedom. Don't stop doing the things you love because you are scared, because that actually is a form of resistance. Showing up and doing things you love says to an authoritarian, you have no place to root here. Yes. So let us take this wonderful alchemy of freedom and service and heartbreak in living into the legacy of those who died so that we could be in this moment. Let us take that alchemy and into determination and resistance and continue down the line. Hopefully for us, not always for us, but certainly for those that follow in the next 200 years of this great experiment. May we go forth with open hearts, with a sense of compassion and a determination to say, you shall not pass. You authoritarians, you. No. We are here and we are not going anywhere. Amen. Please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 169 in the book, We Shall Overcome.
Shall Faith Like a Light by James Galasinski. Our faith, like a light, illuminates the path before us so that we can face hurt with love, cultivate compassion, and confront despair with the awe of life. Though our flame is extinguished, our faith shines bright before us.
From my colleague, the Reverend Karen G. Johnston. Do not be alone right now. Gather together. Gathering grows courage in ourselves and in others who see the numbers swelling. It is a small thing, but right now it is an important thing. Great sources of wisdom remind us just because you cannot stem the tide of all hate, it is still the right thing to do, the thing you can do. And these things add up, your thing and my thing and this one thing and that one thing and their one thing. Together it becomes a big, beautiful thing. Do not be alone right now. Any liberation, all liberation is collective liberation. My freedom is bound with yours and yours with mine inextricably. So let us together cast our lots doing this big, beautiful thing, bending that moral arc of the universe toward justice. Our worship is ended. Let our service and our big things begin. Oh!